And now, the Bigfoot Corporation, makers of quality tree sap extractor since 2015, the only tree sap extractor you'll ever need, proudly presents tonight's presentation of Dr. Francis Stein, Mad Domestic Scientist. This is the story of Francis Stein, a housewife by day and a mad scientist by midday. As today's episode begins, Frances, with her husband Harold sent off to work and their two children, Bobby and Sally, sent off to school, has transformed herself from a loving housewife into a mad domestic scientist. We pick up the action now as Dr. Francis Stein, aided by her faithful lackey assistant Boris, is busy working on her latest experiment.
And what, may I ask, has you so focused today, good doctor?
Well, Boris, my loyal and acquiescent servant, I'm attempting to revitalize this European violet here.
Why, doctor, it does look droopy, and its leaves are withered and brown.
Yes. Through no fault of my own, it's been overcome with botrytis cinerea. I must have contracted this dread disease when Mrs. Boatwright allowed Mr. Boatwright to sit within 10 feet of it. That man smells of something, and I've no doubt that it's botrytis cinerea.
Is there any cure for this disease, doctor?
This is no time for conventional methods. I must create a formula that will reverse the effects this terrible blight has brought to my beloved European violet. I must change its destructive properties and transform them into constructive ones. I will take one thing and make it into another.
Why, that sounds like quite a task, doctor.
It is, Boris, it is. I must use all my resources at my disposal. My laboratory, all of the chemicals and serums it contains, my vast supply of botanical nutrients and supplements, and of course, my scientific genius.
And what about me, doctor? Am I one of the resources you have at your disposal?
Yes, of course you are, my compliant minion. Go get me a cup of my homebrewed butternut tea. I need to remain hydrated as I work.
And so, Dr. Francis Stein gets to work, extracting and isolating herbal compounds through structural elucidation and chromatography. After hours of work, her labors are finished.
I've done it, Boris. I've done it. And now the final test. I shall add a few drops of my formula to the roots of my European violet, and we shall see.
Why, doctor, look, it's working. Your European violet is growing healthy and turning a decidedly robust shade of green right before our very eyes.
So it is, my awestruck lackey. So it is. Here, take this formula and carefully seal it and put it on the shelf.
Oh, yes, doctor. Whoops. Doctor, I fear I spilled some of your formula into the homebrewed butternut tea I made for you. I hope that...
What's that, Boris? My homebrewed butternut tea? Yes, I could go for a sip of homebrewed butternut tea right about now.
No, doctor, I wouldn't do that.
I do so love homebrewed butternut tea, Boris.
But, doctor, perhaps you need...
Oh, that's quite good. Tastes like the sweet nectar of success.
Oh, doctor, I don't think... Oh, doctor, are you all right? Oh, doctor, you look a bit strange.
Whatever do you mean? I feel well. Quite well, in fact. And how about you, my sweet, adorable little slave? How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, doctor, but I must admit to being a bit confused.
I'm terribly sorry. I fear my vast intellectual superiority has left you feeling inadequate again. I do hope you'll accept my apology.
Why, yes, I suppose.
Oh, Boris, have I ever told you how much I appreciate having you here?
Well, if calling me your simple-minded thrall is an expression of appreciation, then yes.
Oh, do please sit down, my precious underling. Allow me to remove your shoes and serve you some of my homebrewed butternut tea.
Why, yes, thank you.
Oh, look at the time. Oh, I'm so sorry. Harold and the children will be arriving home at any minute. I hope you'll forgive me, but I must attend to them.
Well, yes, that will be okay, doctor.
Oh, you're so kind. Once I've served them dinner and helped them settle in for the evening, I promise I'll come back and attend to whatever needs you have. It's time that I served my servant.
Of course, doctor, that will be fine.
What a dear little minion you are.
And so, shedding her lab coat and donning her apron, Dr. Frances Stein, under the reversing influence of her own formula, transforms herself from a kind and loving domestic scientist into a mad housewife.
Now I can get down to business. Mad housewife business. Harold, my dull and lackluster husband, where are you?
Well, I'm right here, my dear Frances. Allow me to greet you with a peck upon the cheek.
Harold, you insufferable bore. You must learn to think outside the box. Every evening you greet me with a peck on the cheek. Surely there's something more imaginative you can do.
Oh, well, I suppose if I thought on it a while,
And I'm a wonderful wife. Perhaps you can show a bit more initiative on your intention towards me. Along with being my devoted and faithful husband, why don't you add doting and attentive?
Well, if that is what you would like, my dear.
Yes, I would like that.
I must say that you are acting a bit differently tonight, my dear. Somewhat haughty and demanding. But on the other hand, I am quite impressed with how healthy this European violet looks.